The leaves used to be so pretty to look at out the windows of Columbus Dunn's home. Now the leaves are all that's left.
There's nothing that I can use. It's just all gone, and it's hard to let go. It really is.
It's not clear it had to be this bad. The day his home caught fire, firefighters had to wait on water trucks because the hydrants couldn't supply the necessary water. All the hydrants near Dunn's home, all of them, have low water flows.
They opened up the nozzle on the lines, and nothing was coming through.
Nothing.
Nothing was coming through.
Well, when we went to Mr. Dunn's fire, our resources were very limited.
So the firefighters and Dunn stood, waiting for the water trucks, and watched his home burn.
They said, we're sorry, we're doing all that we can, but we're limited because we don't have the water.
What happened to Columbus Dunn here and to everything he owns revealed a much bigger problem. A problem with fire hydrant pressure that stretches all across the city of Elyria. While the International Fire Code recommends a hydrant have a flow rate of 1,500 gallons per minute, 1,000 per minute, which looks like this, is considered good. Here's 500 gallons per minute. Below 500, a hydrant can have trouble supplying the water demanded by a fire department's pumper trucks. Elyria has 391 hydrants, about 15% of its total, rated at under 500 gallons per minute. What's more, a few are almost down to 150. That looks like this. If one hydrant has weak pressure, or more exactly a weak flow, a fire department goes to the next one, which usually draws water from a different main line. It takes about an extra minute to lay a hose to the next hydrant over. Not normally a big deal, but
If you're handling a fire where there's a life threat, but there's somebody up on the second floor, that's critical, and that minute can mean someone's life.
and in two entire portions of Elyria, here on Oberlin Road where Columbus Dunn lived, and here in this section of stately homes known as Overbrook, the fire department indicates there has not been a single good hydrant, not one, for years. What I don't understand is why up till now hasn't this been fixed?
Well, one, there's enough pressure to fight a fire.
Not in Overbrook.
Sure there is.
Not according to the fire department.
Well, there's 300 and...
Eric Rothgary runs safety services for the city of Elyria.
You got 375 gallons per minute.
Have you seen what that looks like coming out of a hydrant?
Yeah, I have. 375. It doesn't mean that the house is going to burn.
375, I believe, is just a little bit less than what the fire department had at Mr. Dunn's house when they told him they didn't have the pressure to fight the fire.
You could not fight a fully involved home fire at 375, no. Could you fight a small fire with 375? Yes.
It's unacceptable.
Correct. I mean, but it's just what we have.
But they've had it that way for years. How many? This was a lead story on our news 17 years ago.
Joining us, here's what's happening. Dozens of exhausted firefighters battled flames, heat, and a critical water shortage in Elyria today.
This fire started at a paper company near Oberlin Road, near Mr. Dunn's home. 17 years ago, they needed trucks for
bringing water, which was hard to come by because of the drought and the low water pressure on this end of town.
Remember, this fire was 17 years ago. How much notice does the city need to fix that problem?
You know, when we had the fire on Oberlin Road a couple years ago, like I said, it was a friend of mine's father's house caught fire. We've been working on the issue ever since.
Your work and results seem sort of separated from one another.
Well, I disagree. We've done a lot in the last 6 years, a lot.
Under Mayor William Grace, the city has installed a new water line near Oberlin Road and has built 2 new water towers. But it does not have a routine maintenance program like Cleveland does to keep sediment deposits from building up inside water lines, which can restrict water flow to hydrants.
This is an expensive process, okay? And without the money, it's nothing but talk.
But you could take money from other sources.
Well, I'm sure.
I love this place, but you could have not built a beautiful new city hall and put it into water mains.
The water system should be funded by water fees. It's a user system.
It's not clear how much of Dunn's home could have been saved. The fire was burning more than an hour before it was discovered and the fire department was called. But Columbus Dunn was a water user, and it's hard to believe he got what he paid for.
It could have been my life, But in part of my life was taken there because of what I lost.